Night falls over the Jelly Bean Pool in the Blue Mountains. It's a classic scout camp. You've got clear stars, running water, and a group of kids playing a seeking game under the canopy of an ancient, sprawling forest. Peter is chosen as the first seeker. He breaks away from the group, stepping out of the warm, noisy glow of the camp. As he walks alone up the river, the familiar sounds of his friends fade, replaced entirely by the rush of water over the rocks. He navigates carefully over the wet stones. Approaching a bend in the river, he keeps quiet. He fully expects to round the corner and catch one of the other boys hiding in the brush. But as he clears the corner and looks across the bank, the shape waiting in the dark is entirely wrong. It is a massive, broad silhouette, squatting low against the earth. As his eyes adjust to the low light, he realizes it's drinking. The creature cups water from the river in a heavy palm, raising it to its mouth and slurping slowly. And as it drinks, its eyes lock directly onto Peter. For a few agonizing seconds, there is only a quiet, mutual stare. The framework of a safe, predictable scout camp evaporates. Peter is standing alone in the dark, staring at a biological impossibility that is staring right back. Trying to force the shape to make sense, Peter tilts his head and blinks, hoping the shadows will resolve back into a fellow scout. Instead, the shape stands up. It towers 7 feet tall. This matches decades of local reports. Witnesses describe an animal of immense mass. It's covered in thick, dark red or black hair, with shoulders so high it appears to have absolutely no neck. Up close, the facial structure is decidedly primitive. Those who have seen it clearly detail a heavy, low brow over a flat nose. The eyes themselves seem to trap the moonlight rather than reflect it, glowing dimly in the dark. Researchers point to a few potential biological origins. The anatomy suggests an isolated offshoot of early hominids, perhaps a surviving Neanderthal branch, or an entirely separate, undiscovered primate species that retreated into the deep brush to survive. The consistency across these scattered encounters is telling. The precise physiological details point away from local folklore, suggesting instead a highly adapted physical apex primate operating just outside our field of view. Back at the Jelly Bean Pool, Peter remains frozen. Then the wind shifts. He is suddenly hit by a suffocating, putrid stench emanating from the towering shape across the water. This isn't just a bad odor. It's a pungent, death-like musk that triggers immediate sensory overload. The brain is forced into a high-stress state, resulting in a complete neurological lockdown. Victims like Peter are shocked into an involuntary, paralyzing freeze state. This paralyzing reaction provides the creature with a decisive tactical advantage. By the time the witness recovers their breath and their composure, the trail has already gone cold. When Peter finally raises a hand to block the smell, the creature reacts instantly. It jets off, scurrying up the steep, rocky riverbed with a speed that seems completely impossible for its immense size, jumping onto the mountain wall and vanishing into the brush. While it often runs upright, witnesses have also reported it dropping down to all fours, moving with the rapid, unsettling gait of a giant spider. The escape is often accompanied by auditory extremes. It may let out a bellowing scream that vibrates through the trees, or it may move in a terrifying, absolute silence, as if the sound of the forest itself has been sucked away. Because these massive creatures can vanish so completely within seconds, some researchers have looked beyond biology for an explanation. They theorize the Yowie might be accessing dimensions just beyond our own, slipping into a 4th or 5th dimensional space that remains inaccessible to humans. Whether it is phasing between worlds or simply utilizing an ancient mastery of the terrain, its ability to move through the landscape without leaving a trace makes it nearly impossible to document. Peter scrambled back to the campsite to find the other scouts, but when the group returned to the riverbank with their lights, the mountainside was empty. The towering being was gone. They found no signs of movement in the brush. However, they did find one piece of physical proof, a single massive footprint pressed deep into the mud where the figure had been standing. That encounter fundamentally altered Peter's life. Decades later, he still seeks answers at the office of Dr. Tenilius, trying to reconcile the memory of that night with a world that insists such things don't exist. His story is now part of a growing archive. Across the country, everyday Australians are documenting their own close encounters, mapping a persistent presence that survives within the deepest corners of the bushland. For Peter, the Blue Mountains are no longer just a place for scout camps. They are the home of an apex survivor, a creature that watched him from across the river, drink from its palm, and then simply stepped back into the silence.